All right. Good morning. Welcome to Coffee and Resales. Let's make sure our audio video connections are good. Good morning. Welcome to Coffee and Resales. My name's Ryan. I get stuff from yard sales, garage sales, thrift stores, other similar places, trying to make a few extra bucks online. This morning had some okay sales over the weekend. Number was lower, the amount of sales was lower, but the prices were good, so that I can live with. So that's what we're gonna jump into in a few minutes, and go from there. Found a bunch of books this weekend, this past weekend, to try to get some things flipped. So we'll go with that. And so that's what we'll go through. So let's jump into it. Sold three Robert Heinlein books, $10. Probably not making a bunch of money on these when all is said and done. I'm still an advocate for lotting up Robert Heinlein books, particularly like the old ones. If I had more like this, it probably would have been a good sale. The more you have, kind of the better they move as well. I've always been able to sell Robert Heinlein books on eBay, $3 to $5. Sometimes you can find a good $10 or $20 one, depending on what it is, and the condition and that sort of thing. So, and these have been sitting around a while. I actually, there's a bunch of stuff I need to pull off of my eBay store, and because it's costing me money because I got so many listings and stuff that's just not going to sell for profit, and I need to get it done. So we're going to keep going here. Pants, sold jeans. Wrangler Comfort Flex, 46 by 29, men's big and tall jeans. I have found do okay. These went for $18 for Wranglers. I always like Levi's. I always grab big and tall men's. Actually, I grab just about any. If I get a pair of Levi's for $1 or less, I tend to grab them. I've always had success with that. But I think I got those for $1, maybe even cheaper at a yard sale, which is why I grabbed them and picked them up, because they were sort of a big and tall size, in good shape, and kind of did an experiment with them, and it came out. So that's pretty good. Heck, glare! I gotta figure out how to handle that glare, because it's not from a light. That's the camera doing that, and I'm not sure how to handle that glare. So not sure. I'll have to Google that answer. All right. Anyway, moving on. Is this guy the next one? All right. This little guy. He's about G.I. Joe size. This is from a line called Bionic 6 from the 1980s. Only was out for a couple of years. These are actually die-cast metal action figures. This guy went for $22. So this is one of those things that if you see a pile of them, a pile of like 1980s action figures, and you see a bunch of stuff that you don't recognize in there, this is one of those, this is one of those lines that a bunch of kids had like one or two of. I've always found them like a couple at a time. I think there was one time I found a big batch of them, and that was in some weird lot. I don't even remember where I got that from, but usually I find like, oh, hey, that's Bionic 6. One or two at a time. So that was a fun grab. This one for $22. This was in that big haul of action figures I got a couple weeks ago, and which is we're about to see, which have brought about some good sales out of it. I think after this and this, I'm in the black in that lot. So after this next show, 265. Oh, so we'll save that next one for last. This one, Magna Block. This may actually be a priority. These are heavy, but they may fit in a priority mailbox. and that may actually be cheaper. These are those magnetic building toys. This bag went for $65 shipped. That's a little heavy, but I think if I can fit that in a large flat rate priority, that actually may be cheaper than going ground advantage. I'll have to do some weighing, but that actually might need to go that way. Finally, what you've all been waiting for is Ninja Turtles. This is I've got it taken apart now for transport, but this is a near complete Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 1980s sewer headquarters playset. And that sold for $65. It was missing one or two parts, maybe. I figured out one part that was missing, so I couldn't figure out another part that was missing on it, so I was selling it like 90% complete, and went for $65. They range between 65 and 85 for a full loose set. So that was a good find, and also bulky. Good to get bulky stuff out. I think if you those who know if you've done eBay for any length of time, bulky stuff is a pain to deal with. That goes in bigger boxes, because sometimes you gotta find the right box to pack it up and get it out. It's sometimes a chore. Rather than these guys are just a small padded mailer. If I have a box he'll fit in, I may put him in there, which I'd like to for a $20+ figure. It's usually a good idea to box those instead of just a padded mailer. But anyway, so that's what I got sold. Some of the stuff we got bought. Books. Let's see. Nothing huge. This was a fun find. This is a first edition Pippi Longstocking hardcover. This is probably about a $20 book. So that's a first book club edition. I'm not sure if there is like a true first printing that's not a book club on that one. So that was a fun find. Got always when you and if you've done this any length of time, you know to do this. Tape. These were $1/4 box at a yard sale. Packing and shipping supplies. You always grab them at particularly tape and that sort of stuff. Tape and padded mailers are what I'm always kind of on the lookout for. Got some antique books. Got some really pretty. Got like a set, I think 5 or 6 of these antique looking books, and I may actually have something that kind of matches them. So I'll lock these up. I'll make sure they don't. I think these are like $3 to $5 a piece type books, but they'll actually do a lot better selling them on eBay. Get them cleaned up a little bit. Finally, I got a box of like sci-fi and stuff, but some things like got this Wheel of Time box set that unopened, still in the package, I can sell as new. So that's cool. Retail on this is $30, probably between $20 and $30 on that. Right, since it's in the plastic. I got another real good find in here. I don't see it. I'll have to go hunting for it. There was may still be in there, but I had some book that was still in plastic. That I didn't even look it up. All these guys' books were like $1/4 a piece and some of these I'm going to keep when they get rooted through. That Elric Saga book. This sells pretty good. I've had pretty good selling Michael Moorcock Elric Saga books. A few more Robert Jordans, a few Brandon Sandersons, and a couple others here and there. So that's what we got. I bet it's still in the plastic. I bet it's still in the car. But that's what we got. So got some good buys, some good sales. Ready to get some of this stuff out the door and get to move on. So because it's Monday, because we all got work to do. I got work to do. You got work to do. What are you doing watching? Go to work. Get stuff done. Get out of here. Go on. Like, comment, subscribe before you do. Have a good one.